Obviously with COVID, a lot of gaming behavior changed for people because we were all spending more time at home. Everybody was, trying to figure out, how do I live my life without being able to see my loved ones? And dude, I would love to hear about everybody's personal experiences with COVID and how it impacted their video game behavior. Like, what did it do? I mean, who wants to give their analysis first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll start. I was just, thinking about the pandemic and things like that. And previously, before it had started, my husband and I, freshly married, very busy, doing a lot of stuff. And the amount of video games that I was buying new and consuming was very, very, very few. I mean, I remember a specific conversation with my husband, and it was, both of us are pretty big gamers. Him even more so than me, but it was around if we were going to be, purchasing the next new console generation or not, and both of us kind of going, I just don't think so. I don't think that. I think that time is kind of done, and we're good with what we have. And both of us had been avid WoW players in the past, but since our subscriptions had lapsed many, many months before, and we had kind of quit playing the previous expansion, and then boom, COVID hits and the world locks down. And initially we started by ripping down wallpaper and painting all of our walls. And then and then when we discovered that was a lot of work, we are not interested in doing anything like that again for a long time. We started gaming again. We both upped our WoW subscriptions. We started picking up old games that we had played in the past. We both got brand new PC rigs that were very, very difficult to get because of the pandemic as well.
Yeah,
it made getting any new systems, it made getting any, originally we wanted to build our PCs, but it just could not be done. You couldn't buy graphics cards. You couldn't buy anything. So we had to, then go and get still very nice, but pre-built systems. And that's when now I'm on Steam and we're playing all these indie games, and we're playing with our friends, and we're playing with people that we don't, we can't see, and we're trying all this stuff. And before you know it, we're playing constantly, and we're consuming all of this stuff that we had previously thought maybe was leaving our lives. And now I'm on a podcast with you.
Yes, and
with you lot.
Yeah.
And you're helping us welcome back Doug Eberle, who those who devotees of this program who remember season 1, episode 9 will remember Doug from his analysis. Yeah. Analysis of Seinfeld memes and god damn it, the quality work that he continues to do for us, fighting the good fight.
Yes.
Doug, yeah.
For anybody who's interested, since then, I didn't mention this, on our last time I was on here. Remember when I was talking about the size of the group, and I was talking about how Facebook was getting weird, and they ended up shutting down the group that was 48,000 people.
I remember that
now
day.
We are at a modest 12,000 people and building.
Rebuilding.
We should probably redo our history of Seinfeld soup posting, because we've missed some things.
So much happened since then. It was so strange. It was like that doing that podcast was like a omen or something.
Yes, the society had become too large for its own good.
Anyway, right now we're here to talk about video games during the pandemic.
Yeah. And, how'd your behavior change, by the way?
So before the pandemic, I was playing video games here and there, but I was still kind of set in my old ways, where I was playing old 8-bit and 16-bit games. I had kind of graduated away from cartridges, but I was playing games on the Super Nintendo Mini, things like that, Earthbound, etc. Just going through these long RPGs. which kind of set the pace for what happened next. So right when it happened, I was already working mostly from home before it even occurred. So now I was home just extra, which with much less work to do than I normally would. So a friend of mine had both Xbox, I don't even know the most.
Yeah, Xbox One, I think.
Xbox One, that's it is. He had an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4. He wasn't playing the PlayStation 4 as much, and he said, "Hey, here, take this," and he gave me The Last of Us. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Good starter right there.
Yeah, great pandemic theme
to like this generation of gaming. So I bring it home. It literally sat there for like 2 weeks. I was thinking, well, what do I do with this? I never asked him for it, right? So then all of a sudden one day I was like, I'm gonna set it up. I plug it in. I turn on The Last of Us, and I was just floored. I couldn't believe the smoothness of the gameplay and how good it looked, because every time I kind of like tried to enter into the video game world for like the let's say PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 era, everything was still kind of a little clunky.
Yeah.
You know? And the graphics still weren't like there yet. Still looked like a video game.
Yeah.
This had no longer looked like a video game. I mean, this was like just real, and it was frightening. Experience. Like, I love horror movies, but playing that, it changed just video gaming for me. And then from that point on, I continued PlayStation 4, and luckily The Last of Us 2 came out like right after this happened. So
the pandemic continued.
I had like a few months gap in between when I played the first and second one, unlike most people.
Yeah.
Then I played all the Uncharted games by Naughty Dog. I played Ghost of Tsushima, GTA 5.
Nice.
Nice.
Just and so many other games that were just amazing.
Did you catch that Last of Us has an Uncharted Easter egg, and that Uncharted 3 has a Last of Us Easter egg in it?
I didn't, because when I played Last of Us, I didn't even know Uncharted existed, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then what I did with Uncharted was very peculiar. I played Uncharted 4 first.
Started. Oh, you Tarantino'd this and started at the end.
Yeah.
So because I played 4 first, I felt like it would be inappropriate to play 1, 2, 3. So I literally played 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's so funny.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, that since then I actually replayed 4 too. And man, what an experience!
Yeah. Oh my god.
Those games they're unreal.
Oh,
you're playing
completely.
an action movie. It's just unbelievably. They're so good.
I say Uncharted
1
4
was a little rough. Like when I got up to Uncharted 1, and there was like the gameplay at that point was like so much limited, and like there's so much shooting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a little bit trying to get through that one, but I did, and then
and 2 was amazing. But I just remember like playing 4, and I wondered where you are at this sequence. So you're playing 4. You're going through why am I forgetting? Not Thomas 2. Why am I forgetting the main pirate in this?
No,
not Nathan Drake. So no, it's not Francis Drake. It's so in Uncharted 4 they're looking for this one pirate's treasure, and it turned out they made Libertalia.
Yeah. What the hell is his name? Yeah,
I know it's killing me that I don't know. But anyway. Avery, Thomas Avery. No, it's Henry Avery. Yep. Henry Avery. So they're going through basically this underground labyrinth that Avery set up, and he more or less made
with the
these
bombs
exploding mummies. Yeah.
Yes.
And you have the very end of it where you've been like, you're roped up in a net, and you're trying to cut it down, and they're blowing up left and right, and then you manage to get out, but the explosion knocks you and Elena like off a cliff. And you hit the ground very suddenly and roll, and then you notice that like Drake is like kind of winded, he's doing something, but Elena is just dead still. And you're like, no,
really?
Fucking no. Yeah, like she really looks like she's dead. I just remember my heart pounding, like, oh my God, no. Everything they're really going through in this game. And then of course, like, she laughs suddenly at him and like, I felt exactly like Drake did in that moment. Like, oh my God, you did not just do that. Why did you? That wasn't funny.
You know what's so funny about this? So I always think about the difference between Last of Us and Uncharted. Mm-hmm. In The Last of Us, she would have been dead.
Yep. Would have been dead. No ifs, ands, or buts. Definitely dead.
The games are so opposite. Mm-hmm. The thing about Uncharted is it's always uplifting you. Mm-hmm. Like even the battle sequences, everything about it, you feel powerful the entire time. And even the cutscenes, they're uplifting. And then in The Last of Us, that game just like hits you over the head. It has its beautiful moments, mm-hmm. but they're more somber. Mm-hmm. And it's brutal.
I haven't played the second one yet, but I can definitely attest to that in the first game.
Oh wow!
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to do that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When it came to the pandemic, I actually went kind of I wouldn't say the opposite direction of you guys, because I gamed a lot more during the early pandemic, but I just didn't play games that were quite as detailed as the ones that you're discussing, that have the best graphics, the best voice acting, the emotional weight. I decided for the first time in my life to play Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Yes. As many of us did.
Yes.
I want to come to your island.
I had legit never played a minute of Animal Crossing, and at the beginning of the pandemic, we welcomed my daughter, who she is really, really good at screaming now. But she's adorable. And in the early days of the pandemic, she was born in May of last year, and my company told us, hey, you guys are out of the office as of March. Like, you're gone. You got to go home. So I'm like going, okay, so I'm working at home. I have more time than I've ever had. What am I going to do between now and go time? Mm-hmm. So like, it's the pandemic. I haven't spent any money because we're like afraid of, the world burning.
Yeah.
Credit cards paid. Credit cards paid off. So I'm sitting here going, what can I possibly do right now? Because I just played through like 4 or 5 games. Mm-hmm. I went to Target and I'm walking around, and they just got like a shipment of Nintendo Switch Lites in. So this was like the tail end of March. I go in there and I'm looking at them like, I could easily afford that. I'm stressed out of my mind.
Because I feel like those were hard to find shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
They were impossible to find after that point. So I just made the gut decision. I went, you know what? I'm buying this shit right here, right now.
It'd be irresponsible not to, really.
Oh, completely.
Well, and the next thing I know, I am playing so much Animal Crossing.
Yes.
My hands hurt.
Yeah.
This was the first time in my gaming career where my hands legitimately hurt, and I had to stop playing. I didn't put this game down for the better part of almost 3.5 weeks. It was almost like a full month of playing this like 12 hours a day. I'm not even fucking with you.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this game.
This is a little ditty about capitalism.
Yes, you are basically a slave to an animal that decided to create this like travel agency, and then
a raccoon,
then colonize
specifically.
Yes.
Trash.
This bastard's name is This bastard's name is Tom Nook, and he basically sells you a plot of land on the island, and then you basically live this life of debt and indentured servitude for a while, unless you're like me and played literally 12 hours a day every day for a month, where you basically can go out to other islands and explore them and harvest them for resources, sell your stuff off, build your own house, upgrade your house, upgrade
Get
the
cute
island
little
that you're on.
neighbors.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
You recruit other people.
This is nothing like what I thought it was at all.
Yeah.
I've just seen the screen grabs of it, and this sounds very complicated.
It is, but it's also very relaxing.
Okay. It seems like one of those types of games.
Yeah.
Like even close to like the Harvest Moon.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's exactly what it was. For me at that point in time, we were so just hung up on what's going to happen with our baby. We're going to have to be in the hospital without any support from our family. And like, how did I wind down? But other than like potentially needing surgery for my hands because I played this game so much. And you're right, though. It was so relaxing and it was so calming. I mean, there is legitimately no other experience out there like Animal Crossing. There's plenty of games that are similar, but Animal Crossing is the only Animal Crossing. Yeah. Seriously. Mm-hmm. I tried. I looked for other games like it. I tried them out and I just sat there and I went, nope, this is just like, it's just like pure uncut cocaine. There's only one kind and I cannot go without it. So I had to go play it.
And you know what, though? All the other older Animal Crossings are still applicable. So they all track. Go play those too. They're awesome.
This seems like a smart thing to play when, like, there's a worldwide pandemic going on and everyone's losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, let me go attack zombies.
No, Animal Crossing will let you know exactly what the value of a turnip is and why you need to invest.
So that's where I spent like all of the early pandemic, hung up on Animal Crossing. Joe, how did it change your behavior?
Oh man, I just like want to really say like how much I really like enjoyed hearing about Animal Crossing from you as it was like happening with the pandemic, because like my history, like with some of with Mark and gaming, because we will have to do an episode where we talk about like the trophy hunting days, because it was a very hardcore early experience with you, like getting games, and gaming has to have a purpose to it, and it needs to be showing off skill. It needs to be having something that shows that you're really good at what you're doing. But then you get Animal Crossing, you're like, it feels so fucking good to not be competitive for a change. I'm like, this is a side of Mark in gaming I have never seen before. Because he's playing the game to literally enjoy the game.
well, I repurposed my competitive edge for building an island instead of collecting a trophy count. Okay, so like the same drive, the same push, all of that went into my Animal Crossing.
Just making the best fucking island that anyone could make, and I really liked hearing an update about it. It was so much fun. But like pandemic, like gaming for me was interesting because it was definitely like before it, like I'm like, I think I'm just done playing video games. Like I don't go really hard anymore. I just found myself like, I'm literally just like playing Overwatch because I can't fall asleep, or I had a stressful day and I just need to fucking shoot something, and I can't do that in real life because that's an actual crime. Not like it's not like stealing a nerd's Mew from a church camp,
which
like
still might be an actual crime.
It could be,
neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. But like, I'm doing time if I try doing Overwatch in real life. Yes. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm basically paying PlayStation a monthly subscription just to play this one game. I think I'm out. So I stopped. I bought a Nintendo Switch well before it, and then I even sold the Switch after I literally played one game on it. I played Let's Go Pikachu, and I'm like, that was fun. And then I didn't touch it for like a long time after that, because I just went back to playing my PS4. I'm like, I don't even play the second thing. So I sold my Switch basically for what I paid for it, and I'm like, that's fine. Went to a kid for his birthday, so I'm happy he got it. But then the pandemic hits, and I'm like, you know what? I'm pursuing like other interests. So at the start of it, like I was drawing a lot more because I hadn't done that in years. So that felt really good. I'd like to say competitively build Gundam models, because I could say that because I did win one tournament, took first place in Chicago.
Yeah, NBD. You can say that because you're a winner.
I am. Yep. So I'm like, I'm going to focus on that stuff. And then lo and behold, like 2 months in the pandemic, I'm like, okay, I think I need video games again. Because like that stuff's fun. I even like behind me right now, I've got something in my paint booth that I'm working on for Model Now. But, like, no, video games are a good thing to like still keep in the mix to help me de-stress and decompress. So I need them. And
you're trying to get a Nintendo Switch during the peak of scarcity for them.
So stupid. But before I succumbed to getting my second Nintendo Switch in the pandemic, I actually bought like definitely a knockoff tiny Nintendo that had like 300 games preloaded onto it. And I'm like,
the fake like NES emulator.
Oh yes, definitely fake.
Yeah.
My plan was like, you know what? I could actually make this into something fun. Like maybe I could make this into a podcast where I'm going to spend 300 days, and each day I play a new game, and I just show me playing the game, and that's the podcast, and it'll be fun. But lo and behold, my knockoff Nintendo was so horribly bad that I'm like, I can't do this because not all the 300 games are original. Like they say there's 300 games, but you definitely like you hit like 175 and like, wait a second, you just looped your list, and it's the same stuff over and over again.
That is awful.
And there's like 100 homebrews.
Right, completely. I have Super Mario 12 on that thing.
Exactly.
Yep. And it's literally like, I think it's like, I was going to say Kid Icarus, but it's not Kid Icarus. It's like some sort of kung fu game where clearly like they just shoved Mario's head on like this buff kung fu guy body and you're walking around doing stuff. But when you duck, Mario's head goes away and it's the original game again. And I'm like, I could do this when I'm drinking and it would be its whole fun thing. But like, I'm like, no, I need some honest gaming again. I'm like, I should probably pick up Breath of the Wild during this time. Because Chelsea had been mentioning like just how like incredible the game was.
Did I mention that once or probably just once?
Probably just the one time in conversation.
I'm sure I was pretty aloof and
totally just nonchalant about the whole thing.
Super breezy. It was fine.
Oh yeah. So pretty much after our passing conversations about how amazing Breath of the Wild is, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a Switch. I'm going to get Breath of the Wild. And that's what I'm going to do in the pandemic. And I'm going to really go hard at it. So, of course, there are no Nintendo Switches available at any department store during the pandemic or on Amazon or anywhere. But there's a guy on
we all
Facebook.
have a guy.
We have a guy. And he's like, hey, I've got this Nintendo Switch. But if you have like vintage stuff, I'll take that. And then we'll work out something for the Switch. So I had an extra 64 laying around and a GameCube that I don't use for anything anymore. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to like bail these two out. I'm going to get rid of the games that I know I don't want to hold on to. And I basically just unloaded a ton of stuff. And then the guy's like, yeah, we'll just call that even then for the Switch. So
he's saying they called it even, but Joe most likely gave this guy a little extra.
I did no such thing. What happened was that
he stole something from him while he wasn't looking, actually.
Yeah. How I met the guy was I had to drive to a crossroads, and they were both definitely gravel crossroads in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. And I had to take all of those video games that I loved, put them into a tin box and bury it in the middle of the crossroads, and he just poofed out of nowhere with a Nintendo Switch.
Well, but then that would mean that you had to kiss the man to complete the deal, which there's nothing wrong with that.
That was, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with
that. well, okay. So we've heard a little bit about how the behavior changed at the beginning of COVID. Now that we're kind of, we're coming out of the shell again, is there anything that's been consistent that is changing again, or anything that's been consistent, anything that's changing? I mean, where are we at now with our gaming behavior?
Especially since, things opening back up again and the start of the summer and stuff like that, I absolutely am not as playing quite as much as I was before, just because there isn't time for it. I feel like now people are trying to fit in 2 years worth of things into one summer, and it's pretty intense.
Everyone's getting married on you, so
yeah, everyone is getting. Can we just like stop getting married, please?
I'm actually getting married in October.
Oh, I mean, well, not you, Doug. You get married
because I'm one of the people who got their wedding.
I'm
delayed.
so sorry. Okay, so I'm really sorry. That's really rough. That's awful. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to a wedding on Sunday. So
yes. yeah. It's how it goes. But
And Chelsea, aren't you fresh off like 2 weekends worth of weddings?
Yes. My next wedding is on the 7th, and then there's 2 more after. We have 5 this summer.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm at the next one with you, and then
you are.
Yeah. But that's also my only wedding this summer.
You lucky bastard.
Well. Yeah. I mean, Chelsea is happy for every one of her friends who have tied the knot.
Oh, of course.
I mean, yes, especially if you're a listener. Definitely, I'm not talking about you. All those other weddings, definitely not you. I love you.
Well, Doug, I'm interested to hear about the PS4 because so you played through some of the some pretty big hits and some pretty solid story experiences that came out for that gen. I guess what's continued after that?
So just like Chelsea had mentioned, as soon as I got warm out and as soon as I was vaccinated, I have played that. I still play it, but it has definitely taken a backseat. I am trying to just do as much as possible outside and see as many people as I can. So I'm sure that once the cold comes back and I'm back on that type of schedule, it's there waiting for me, and there'll be some newer games I'll get into at that point. I can't wait, but right now it's like, it's taking a little bit of a backseat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I'm the weird one here because there's a couple things that have happened for me. So I actually picked up, and I've mentioned it a couple of times on this show. I actually picked up a mobile game called Den of Isles, which is it's a mobile-based RPG, and I've been itching for an MMO that I could take with me that didn't involve a 15-pound laptop. Like, I wanted to get an MMO where I could capture that same experience of interacting with people and, do the grinding, do the leveling up, skip through subtitles that I should read for context that I desperately need, but I don't because I just want to keep playing. And so that's what I did. I got this brand new CRP or mobile RPG. Really great mechanics, really fun. It's a combination of I mentioned it earlier episode that it's like a combination of action and like turn-based, because there are certain things that you have to plan for in the dynamic nature of the battle itself. So there's some thought involved before you just run in there and start killing things, hitting stuff till it stops moving. But I played the shit out of that. Like, I would say midway through COVID. But then I found myself returning to the Fallout series.
Yeah.
So
yes.
That's great. Which one? Or all of them?
So funny story. I actually went on and bought 1 and 2 because I didn't have I actually don't have a disk drive anymore.
Yeah. No one does. No, I know.
Yep. Don't have a disk drive anymore at all. Nothing has it. You can't even put it into a computer anymore. So
no, mine has too many lights in it to put a disk drive in it.
Yeah, it's all Fast and Furious over there. There's no room for that nonsense.
Well, that's what I ended up doing. I went back. I played 1 and 2. I played 3, and then I played Fallout New Vegas. And the only ones I didn't touch, I didn't buy 76. I still own 4, but I played the hell out of it. So that one needs to breathe for a little. But yeah, I went back and I played all of those again. And And yeah, I just couldn't believe how fun it was to go back and play games that I had already spent hundreds of hours playing. Like it was so crazy. Yeah,
it's weird. It's like when someone plays Uncharted every summer, despite the fact he's beaten them all, but does it all the time. It's crazy how you can replay the same games over and over, isn't it, Mark?
And sometimes we even still have a problem with the same spot.